you guys okay? Hello? They're gone.
I don't know, Emma. You tell me. I don't know, maybe you should stay back and help your friends. Full stomach, no poison. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it from you anymore.
Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. This week's video is about the hidden lore behind one of the most popular friend slop games to come out recently. I'm talking about Peak, made by Landfall and Aggro Crab. Peak is a multiplayer game in which you and 3 other friends get stranded on an island and are forced to climb the peaks and go through different biomes, facing different obstacles from the environment and even from your friends, all in order to fully escape the island by reaching the final peak. And unlike other games similar to this that I've covered, like my repo videos, this game is not inherently a horror game. Overall, the game is exactly what it appears to be. It's a fun, lighthearted adventure with friends. And frankly, I really enjoy it. I've been having a lot of fun playing it with some of my closest friends, and I think that's the best way to do it. You gotta play it with your close buddies because you can get mad at each other without being, without it going too far.
Ready?
Yeah. Oh! It knocked me over. Oh my god! Give it back!
Why are you bullying and harassing me? Oh my god! Bullying.
Don't do it, please! Ah!
Oh my god, quit!
Jumper for the cookies.
Did you take- Give me my cookies back, you bum! You bums!
That's so
I hate
mean.
you both.
So you might be thinking, what possible dark, mysterious lore could there possibly be for me to talk about in this game? Well, that brings me to a character that we only hear of and very rarely see, known as Scoutmaster Myers. Well, when you look a little bit deeper at the game Peak, you realize that there's some mysterious supernatural forces going on this island. And you and this troop are not the first ones to crash here. But before I get too far into it, I just want to say thank you for making it this far. If you could like or maybe check if you're subscribed, I would really appreciate it. But without further ado, let's get into the lore behind the game Peak. I feel like the best way to delve into the lore would be to discuss Scoutmaster Myers and his story, because I believe that it opens the doors to a lot of things about the island. On your initial playthrough, you may not recognize that name, or if you do, you will know it from the Wilderness Handbook that you get at the beginning of the game. This book can be found immediately after crash landing on the island. It's among all of the smaller items that can be found near the wreckage. It's authored by Scoutmaster Myers and appears to be a simple tutorial at first. It includes very basic instructions on movement, such as how to walk, jump, climb, things like that, how to help your friends and reach out to them, how to talk to your friends using the voice chat. It discusses how the stamina bar functions as both a stamina bar and your health. It also explains how weight works, how a backpack can make items less heavy and allow you to carry more, however it will be a detriment to your stamina. But the most important rule in this entire book has to be Rule 0. Rule 0 would be never abandon a friend in need, which will come back later. What I initially thought about Scoutmaster Myers when I initially found this handbook is that he was our Scoutmaster, and that he must have either died in the plane crash or didn't come along at all, and it's simply a guidebook for the students. However, with the addition of notes that you can find throughout the different islands, it would appear that he wasn't our Scoutmaster, but it would appear that we aren't the first to crash on this island. The first piece of evidence, before we discuss his notes, is the sheer amount of luggage around the island. At first, I thought that it was our luggage, but As time goes, it appears that different planes may have crashed on different parts of the island. We can find the luggage on different biomes throughout the entire game, and we only crashed on the tropical part. So it doesn't really add up as to why we would find all of this luggage across the entire island. But like I said, the real thing that shows us that we are not the first to be on this island is Scoutmaster Myers' notes. We can find his diary entries around different parts of the island, and they tell a very harrowing story of what happened to him and his troop when they crashed on the island. The other interesting note is that it appears that Scoutmaster Meyer washed up in a boat with his students, because in his first diary entry he says, "The ship captain made an oopsie. We've wound up crashed on this mysterious island. Thankfully, mysterious islands are my specialty. With our whole troop working together, we'll reach the top of the peak and signal for help in no time. In the meantime, I'll take this opportunity to add some additional pages to my famous guidebook, Scoutmaster Myers." This proves that Scoutmaster Myers is a well-known figure among these Boy Scouts, and that his scout book is used among all the different troops. When we find entry 2, we discover that it has the first of Scoutmaster Myers' bonus rules. Scan your shrooms. Mushrooms can be a valuable source of nutrition in the wilderness, but watch out, some of them can kill you, or even make you poop your pants. There's always a way to tell the poisonous ones apart though. Here's just one example. And then below he shows the difference between two different mushrooms. So this shows that he's starting to get a grip of the island and they've sort of made their way into the interior a little bit. Perhaps one of the troop members ate a mushroom and was poisoned for a little bit, or something like that must have happened. However, Scoutmaster Myers, in his professionalism, had to document it for the sake of whoever else is on the island. It would also appear that Scoutmaster Myers is the first person to ever be on the island, or at the very least to document it. In entry 3, we get bonus rule number 2, gather round the fire. If you find a nice place to light a campfire, make sure you bring your friends close by first. The fire brings something even better than heat and cooked food. And that's motivation. That's both literal and figurative. Being motivated by the fire gives you bonus stamina, and also this shows us that at the very least they made it through the first biome, which the ending of which is marked by a campfire. In entry 4, we learn bonus rule 3, which is embrace the occult. Whoa! One of our scouts stepped on a sea urchin and died. I was about to get really sad, but one of the other kids touched a weird statue and brought their friend back to life. It seems like this island bends the rules of mortality itself. How wacky. Perhaps something else interesting might happen if we use a statue when everyone is still alive. So we gotta hand it to Scoutmaster Meyer. He is open-minded at the very least. One of his kids died on the trip, and they managed to bring him back to life with the statues. But what that tells us is that the statues were on the island before Scoutmaster Myers. And the statues I'm referring to are the ones that can be found near all the campsites, and it appears to resemble some sort of scout looking off into the distance. And it's very interesting that it's already there in an image of a scout. It's very fascinating. It's as if the island itself is alive. The island allows all these strange things to happen. He oddly doesn't mention anything about seeing ghosts, but I imagine that it happened in fairly quick succession. In entry 5, we discuss bonus rule number 4, huddle up. As we approach the peak, the temperature has begun dropping dramatically. Seeking constant cover is a must, and getting caught out in the open when the wind is strong can be a death sentence. If all else fails, huddling with your friends to share body heat might just save you from an icy grave. This shows us that he's gotten to the winter tundra section of the game. This is a notably difficult environment due to its blizzards and the severe drops in temperature, as he mentioned. So far it appears that Scoutmaster Myers has been doing fairly well going through the island, and that he hasn't had much trouble other than one death, which is certainly less than what I encounter when I play with my friends.
I think we gotta jump and try and land in those vines. Oh my god.
Emma.
Ooh, barely. Okay.
Hey.
Great minds. What is what?
Oh my god, and you have nothing. That's really funny.
Oh my god!
You like flip through your head. It's really funny.
Oh, okay, now it's it. Now it's it. Oh my god!
Oh.
So all things considered, it's going pretty smoothly. However, it appears that the tundra was his breaking point, as the next entry takes a turn for the worst. Entry 6, bonus rule number 5. I just need a nap. I saw such a pretty sight. A beautiful moon-shaped fruit, surrounded by fireflies. I feel so relaxed now. Maybe a nap wouldn't be so bad. So he's clearly discovered one of these strange fruits in the sort of ice biome, which makes you sleepy, which is obviously what's happening to him here. And this leads directly into the next entry.
Super banana.
It's a nap berry. It's gonna knock me out.
Eat it. No, it won't. Just try it. You got nothing to lose. Oh my god.
Look what you did! No, why you killed me?
Entry 7, bonus rule question mark. Where'd everyone go? I had such a wonderful nap, but when I woke up, the rest of the troop was gone. I'm sure they're just around the corner. They wouldn't be so foolish to break Rule 0 just because I needed a little lie down. Unfortunately, this appears to be the breaking point for Scoutmaster Meyer. He's heartbroken that the other scouts abandoned him and broke the most important rule of them all. The next entry is telling of his mental state. It's simply him repeating Rule 0 over and over again, how they left him, they abandoned him, how you never leave a buddy behind. It's clear that he's lost his mind. The interesting thing is that it's written in red on parts of the paper. So it seems like a pretty open and shut case with him. Once he was abandoned, he went crazy and lost his mind and presumably died. However, he's not dead. If you wander off from the rest of your group for too long, you will be visited by Scoutmaster Myers. He will find you and attack you, but he doesn't look like any normal scout or any normal person. He's long, thin, and he's angry. He attacks you and throws you, and he will kill you. All this for breaking the rule, the most important rule, being away from your friends and not helping them. So it appears that the supernatural elements of the island are what got to him. When he went crazy, somehow, some way, it transformed him into this monster, and now he roams it for eternity. Once again, seems like an open and shut thing. But I want to draw your attention to a recent update to the game. In a recent update, if the player becomes too hungry, you will see your fellow scouts as food, and you'll even have the option to eat them. This addition of cannibalism to this otherwise very silly game, and although it's handled in a silly way, is kind of shocking to me, but it appears to have been a requested feature. But I think this perfectly ties into Scoutmaster Meyer's story. Notice how there's red ink on the last entry? I think what happened is he went crazy. In his anger, he tracked down and found the students. But he was so hungry because they had been eating all the things along the way, not looking out for their buddy, like Rule 0 said, that he had starved. And he saw them as food, and he ate his own troop members. Hence the red, the blood, that he wrote how they abandoned him in. And that was the consequence for breaking Rule 0. This could also be why he looks the way he does now. He appears to resemble a Wendigo, which in folklore, you hear that someone turns into a Wendigo upon consuming human meat. I think all of that evidence shows very clearly a very dark image of Scoutmaster Meyer eating all of the scouts that were on his trip. But that still doesn't answer what these strange statues and the sort of supernatural pull that the island has. One theory I've been thinking about is that Scoutmaster Meyer is responsible for the following planes and boats that have washed up on the shore. Perhaps it's his way of testing the scouts. He uses the supernatural elements on the island to crash the planes in order to see Will they follow the rules, and can they mount the peak? However, I don't think this is true, as statues existed before he had arrived on the island and before he had gone crazy. So I feel like that one's a little far-fetched. He may not be responsible for how the island is or using its powers, but he's now become part of it, an immortal figure sent there to enforce the rules. Hopefully, as more updates come out, we will be able to see more information about the island and the magic itself, because we really don't have many answers right now. The only definitive answers we've gotten have been recent additions to the game, such as the ability to cannibalize your friends and the notes from Scoutmaster Myers. All that to say, Peak is a fun game that has a dark, dark story, if you believe what I say. And I would highly recommend everybody checks it out. I know I've had a lot of fun with it. So I appreciate every single one of you for watching this video and staying this long. I hope you have a great time. I hope that your Peak adventures go a lot better than Scoutmaster Myers, and I hope you have a good morning or evening or, you know, whatever.
Hey guys, you ever wonder what would happen if you mixed like Nesquik or something with sparkling water? Would you just have carbonated, like... Are you good?
Why would you do that?
You'd have carbonated chocolate.
That sounds awful.